Mr. Willen.
That's my name. How are you, my friend?
Greetings. I'm wonderful today. Hey, Willen, I wanted to try something a little different today. I wanted to get a really good feel for where you are. I think I know what your level is, but I want to give you a lesson today that is rated above advanced. It's in what's called proficient. So what I want you to do, if you would, is go to the Engoo. You've done Engoo before, right?
Mhm. Right.
If you don't mind, please go to the link that I sent you, and we're going to talk a little bit about India's South Pole moon landing. So
Sure.
if you would go please to this and start with your vocabulary, and then we're going to go down to the article.
Let's go then. Um, Vocabulary. Here it is. Uh, Pole. Either of the 2 points at the opposite ends of a line around which a planet or star rotates. Roald Amundsen led the first expedition to the South Pole in 1911. Milestone, an important stage in the development of something. The first time a baby recognizes their own name is an important cognitive milestone. Spark, to cause an event, process, to start or develop. A controversial Chinese extradition bill sparked months of protests in Hong Kong in 2019. Crater, a large hole in the ground, typically one made by a bomb or a meteorite. The surface of the moon is covered with craters. Uh, Payload, equipment or people carried by a spacecraft. SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket can carry payloads of about 23,000 kilograms to low Earth orbit.
Okay, please go down to exercise 2 and let's read the short article.
Uh, India makes historic land near Moon's south pole. India has landed a spacecraft near the Moon's south pole, making history by becoming the first country to touch down near the little explored region. After a failed attempt in 2019, India joined the US, the Soviet Union, and China in reaching this milestone. The Chandrayaan-3 moons, mooncraft in Sanskrit took off from Sriharikota in southern India on July 14, just after 6 p.m. local time on August 23. A lander with a rover inside touched down on the lunar surface, sparking cheers and celebration among the space scientists watching in the city of Bengaluru. India has reached the south pole of the moon. No other country has achieved that, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said. We are witnessing history. Many countries and private companies are interested in the South Pole region because permanently shelled craters may hold frozen water that could help future astronaut missions. Wait a moment. Sure. The six-wheeled lander and rover Chandrayaan-3 carries payloads that will provide data on the properties of lunar soil and rocks. India's previous attempt to land a robotic spacecraft near the moon's south pole ended in failure in 1918. Wait a moment. 2019. I'm sorry. It entered a lunar orbit but lost communication with the space station and crash landed. The successful Chandrayaan 3 landing comes days after Russia's Luna 25, which was aiming for the semi-lunar region, crash landed on the moon. It would have been the first successful Russian lunar landing since 1976. Hopes for a successful landing were high after Russia's failed attempt, and as India's regional rival China reached for new milestones in space. In May, China launched a three-person crew for its orbiting space station and hoped to put astronauts on the moon before the end of the decade. Several countries, several countries and private companies are racing to successfully land a spacecraft on the lunar surface. Japan plans to launch a lunar lander to the moon as part of an X-ray telescope mission on August 25. And in the coming years, NASA plans to land astronauts at the lunar South Pole.
So you had no mistakes. The only mistake that you had was when you were saying 2019, which was interesting because you were saying 1918.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, where is he getting that from? But what I'm saying is, what I think we should do is accelerate the path you're on, because now that you know, now that you've got a better handle for the way that you're communicating, well, now you can go to the level that you need to go to and work at that level. So, in any case, please go down to exercise 3, the discussion, and let's go through and talk about these questions.
Mhm. Uh, what? Just wait a moment. 1 second. What are your thoughts on India's historic moon landing? Okay, so in 2019, it failed. The world was, I think, a part of the world was sad, and a part of the world was saying, oh, this is India. It's a poor country. They're dirty. I've known people who said that. So now they overcome this bad thing, and they were the first country ever to land on this part of the moon. So I think it was indeed a great achievement for humanity.
I think it's interesting too. Absolutely. Number 2.
Do you find it surprising that only four countries have landed on the moon? Surprising. Mm, I I don't I don't think surprising is the word. I mean, Brazil, for instance, we don't invest in science. We don't invest in space. So the consequence is we will not we will not ever land on the moon. Now, countries that have been investing on it, I think that's the consequence. So I'm not surprised. I think sooner or later it would happen.
Uh, I Do I find it surprising that only 4 countries have landed on the moon? What I'm about to say to you may sound crazy, but it is just my personal observation.
No problem, my friend.
I do not know enough about the subject, but my immediate reaction is the amount of money that it takes to get to the moon and what you actually yield once you get there. What's the point? I don't know what great leaps forward in technology that we have had from space or landing on the moon, but for poorer countries, I'm sure it's more important to try to get your people food than it is to put a rocket on the moon. And so my gut reaction is to ask ChatGPT what the great accomplishments of going into space even are, because I can't think of many. I know this may sound, I know it may be a little narrow minded because I don't know the subject specifically, but if there was some great breakthrough, of course it would be worth it. But from what I know, I think we invented memory foam in space. I know that there have been different types of adhesives and glues invented in space, but nothing that makes me say, okay, let's spend $2 billion. It doesn't. I know I sound narrow minded saying that, but I don't know enough about the subject. Um, what will India learn from landing on the moon? What will they learn? I can't answer that question. I don't know. I know the side of the moon they landed on is very interesting, and they're trying to harvest the frozen water to see if they can separate it and create further propulsion from that side of the moon that could send them deeper. And obviously, it's incredibly interesting to think about those things. But what use does it have for India's people here who almost 30 or 40% live in poverty? Wouldn't you spend that billions of dollars on your people? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I will end my answer by saying this: we have overwhelming issues and problems with the human beings that are here on Earth. Why can't we solve these problems down here first before we go up and spend billions and billions of dollars on space exploration? I don't I don't see it. I don't see it. If you asked me what's more important, India putting people its first spacecraft on the moon or providing water systems to everybody on Earth, I would say it's more important to get everybody on Earth water. But that's just me. Um, uh,
That is
okay,
understandable.
how about number three?
We can talk about your answer later if you want to.
Okay,
Number three. Does your country have an exciting space missions planned for the future? There are some plans, but they are not transparent to us people in Brazil. So I wouldn't say exciting space missions because in 2003 we had an explosion, uh, a rocket skyrocketed, and sadly it exploded while it was on the sky, and more than 10 people died. So since that moment, our country is like, this is not for us. We should do something else, and that's how it is nowadays.
so to see just how big of a fool I am, I did ask ChatGTP what we've learned from space exploration, and immediately I feel stupid because now I
My
see
friend,
what
don't
we.
say you are a fool, please.
Well, no, I'm just saying that my answer is based in humanity. My answer is not based in technology, but looking at what we have achieved in space is interesting. Yes, it's interesting to see what we have achieved there. Um, but we'll talk
Mhm.
about that afterwards. Okay, let's go to number four.
Number four. Number four. Okay. Do you think lunar tourism will soon become commonplace? Soon? No, I don't think so. I will not be here uh, in this world when this happens. That's what I think. So I
Well,
don't think so.
and the other commonplace, I believe the estimates are somewhere around $250,000 to get you to the edge of the atmosphere. So I don't know a lot of people that have $250,000 to spend to go just up into space, but commonplace, I don't think so. I don't see it being lunar tourism becoming commonplace. It's interesting to think about. I mean, look, obviously, it's absolutely fascinating subject, and very interesting to think about. But again, we have so many problems down here that there's a lot of things to address right here, right now. But again, that's just my opinion. Okay, number five.
Number five, do you think the moon will be colonized within your lifetime? I think that's what China wants more because in moon we have the helium 3. This atom allows you to make fusion, nuclear fusion, a lot easier than what we have here on Earth. This helium 3 is very expensive. I mean, it's unbelievably expensive. If we look at the internet, we would find the, let's say, price. So it's very expensive. So I think that's what China wants. The government is targeting this purpose, and I think it will be colonized in my lifetime. But I will be, let's say, 60 years old, 70 years old. I don't know.
I think it's an interesting topic. Like you said, the race to um, prioritize whatever precious substances are on the moon. I would have thought the United States, which just takes and steals everything in this world, would already have colonized the moon. But
Mhm.
I I I don't know if it'll happen in my lifetime. I just don't know enough about that. Um, okay, here's some interesting things here. How about exercise four? This could be maybe the greatest question that's ever been asked.
Sure. What amazes you most about the universe? Okay, so I when you look at the skies through a telescope and you see a planet, my friend, that is amazing. That is indeed something very peculiar in our lives. So I think the universe is everything, philosophically speaking. I mean, I would like to know the universe if I had the possibility to, and everything is, I don't know, it's hard to explain it in words, but I think the universe is amazing. We have our own universe here on Earth, and we have another tiny universes in space. And to think that humanity could achieve some of those planets, some of these other tiny universes, it's amazing. So, I mean, my jaw is dropped.
This is a tough question because this question you could give an answer for 2 hours and still
Yeah.
only scratch the surface of. What amazes me the most about the universe? Oh Jesus, how would you even? Where would you even go with that? What would amaze me the most about this universe would be the technological advances of advanced civilizations that live in other galaxies. I think I don't, in my particular mind, I don't believe that there's any question whatsoever that other life exists out there. And I personally believe, this is just my personal belief, but I believe very, very sincerely that not only do UFOs have the ability to come here, but that inside of their spacecraft they have the ability to point, say, a laser or something at our Earth and analyze where we are at. They know the state of our air, the state of the ocean, the state of the electricity or the energy that we use. And they cannot believe how far behind we are. And they probably go someplace else that's more interesting. That's just my belief because as human beings, we're really fucked up. We live in a very fucked up world. That world is made the way it is from the petroleum industry, and the petroleum industry is what will take humans to the edge of being extinct from this planet. Will be the petroleum industry that does that. So what amazes me the most about the universe, what's out there, what is out there, what
Yeah.
what is out there. That's fascinating for technology people. Very, very interesting. Okay, how about number two?
Number two, did you ever dream of becoming an astronaut as a kid? Uh, no, actually, I when I was a kid, I used to think that I would be a trucker, a racer of some kind, not an astronaut. Actually, my thing about the space started when I was 21, 23 years old, something between those lines. So, no, I didn't.
Um, did I ever dream of becoming an astronaut? Not that I remember. I do remember pretending I was part of Jacques Cousteau's underwater cruise. I do remember pretending that my bed was a boat and I was a scuba diver and I would travel all around my house pretending I was underwater. But as an astronaut, no, I don't remember pretending as an astronaut. Okay, how about number three?
Number three, how would you react if intelligent life was discovered on another planet? Okay, so intelligent life. If we discovered intelligent life on another planet, I would be happy and worried at the same time because we are intelligent. Humans are intelligent and we destroy each other. We, let's say, Russia attacked uh, Ukrainian. How do I say the name of the country?
Yep, Ukraine. Ukraine.
Ukraine, yeah. So, what another intelligent race would do with us if, on the other hand, they discovered us also? I don't know. So, I would be happy because, oh, we have another intelligent life. Maybe they are like us, and worried also because we learn things from mistakes. And here on Earth, we have many samples.
Uh, yeah, I mean, if from a military standpoint or from a, like you said, a control standpoint, how would I react if intelligent life was discovered on another planet? Look, what I believe and what I have researched from since I was 20 years old, I don't think that there's any question that there is other intelligent life in this universe. I don't believe there's any question about that. And I have read in depth about the engineers that have worked on the that claim to have worked in reverse engineering in the crafts that have been captured by the United States of America. there's a division out in what do they call that, Area 51. There are people that have come forward that have said there was a intelligence officer from the U.S. Air Force that 2 months ago came forward. He just retired. He's only like 40 years old. And he came out in the United States and said, look, I have proof from the people that I work with. He's got like the highest secret security clearance you can get. And he says the United States has these crafts. They're not telling the people. And so I believe, how would I react if it was discovered? I believe it's already been discovered. So how would I react? I guess that's a good question, because how do you react? My reaction or my view of the world I live in would already be that we've discovered intelligent life, but we just have not been told about it.
Mhm.
If you listen to some of those engineers who claim to have worked on those projects, you'll hear some very interesting experiences that they have. And somebody may look at me and say, "You're absolutely crazy." That's crazy for thinking that. But I think it's how do I feel that now that how do I feel now that I believe intelligent life is out there? I believe they avoid Earth because we're very primitive. I think we're very primitive, and I think that we are a very disturbed race. We're a very disturbed group of animals that, for whatever reason, let me just say this to you because I want to say this to you.
Mhm.
I installed the Apple Computer Network at the largest chimpanzee sanctuary on planet Earth. I worked out with the doctors that worked on the behavioral techniques for the primates and for the chimpanzees out there. And I asked them what was the most interesting thing to them about the chimpanzees, and what they told me altered my opinion of humans a little. Chimpanzees also wage war. Primates and chimpanzees wage war for resources. So I was always very troubled in human beings because of their absolute focus on war, resources, greed. And if you believe in evolution or whatever you believe, the closest animal on earth to us, which is the chimpanzee, also wages war. So war did not come from humans. War comes from our genetic background to want to survive. So I'm not sure where I'm going with this. Life on another planet or whatever that may be. You know, humans. I don't. I think they avoid this place. I think the UFOs just kind of avoid this place. And even if they didn't, they have the technology to go undetected. Look, there's some very interesting people in the Canadian Defense Ministry. There's people that have come forward in the Canadian Defense Ministry that have claimed to know the aliens that are here and the form that they take, what languages they speak, what their physical makeup is. These are people in the Canadian Defense Ministry. That's like the Pentagon in the United States. So it
Mhm.
depends what you believe or what you have an open enough mind to try to accept. It's an extremely interesting topic of conversation. Let's answer number 4 so that we can almost say we're done. In your opinion, should more money be spent on space exploration? I believe it probably should be, because we will destroy planet Earth. And as we know from Stephen Hawking's and Elon Musk and other very, very powerful minds, they're saying Man has to figure out a way to get someplace else because he will destroy this place. We're already there.
10 seconds, my friend. We should continue this conversation tomorrow.
Well, I enjoyed these. These are good, and you did fantastic on your Proficient. Good to see you today, Willen.